Nation. Y'all having a great week, y'all having a great evening. Whenever y'all are tuning in, we really appreciate y'all. But welcome to RBLR Bulls. Hope we found you on a good night or a good day. But before we go any further, I want to introduce my wonderful co-host, Mr. Musab Tariq. How you doing tonight, Musab?
So far, so good, man. I feel like there's always so much that happens every week that I forget if we already talked about it last week or if we talked about it this. You know what I'm saying?
I do feel you.
You know,
Yeah.
there's like a couple of games, to go over and stuff like that. So just like, wait, dang, it's already been like that long. They've already played that much. So,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot going on in USF athletics. And in case you're new here or in case this is a returning listen, but regardless, if you want to hit that like and subscribe button so you can keep up with everything USF athletics related, because as Musab said, man, there's a lot going on. Like every week, there's going to be something new for us to talk about, something new for us to catch y'all up on, something new for us to talk about. And there's a lot to break down this week. We've got the transfer portal closing for the football team. Both the women's and the men's basketball team have been playing some games, some wins, some disappointing losses, and we'll get to all that. Also some softball and lacrosse news as well. And then we'll get some track and field to finish out the episode too. And the cheer team, we'll give you some updates on the cheer team because, hey, they had a pretty good week as well. So obviously, as I just said, a lot going on across USF. Across their sports, but we'll start with kind of the fun one because there's no season going on, but it's more about the excitement building with the new players that they're bringing in. Obviously, Brian Hartline, the new coach. I'm talking about the football team. So the transfer portal closed literally a week from today, January 16th, or a week before today. I can't figure out that phrasing, but we want to recap it, go through some players. They hit a lot of different positions, and rightfully so because they needed it. But Mr. Tariq, are there any new names or any names that you wanted to kind of rehash or any guys that stood out to you that either they just got or maybe guys that you just wanted to talk about again? Because, hey, there's going to be a lot of tape to break down and there's a lot of new guys to talk about. So give me something on the new transfer portal class.
Absolutely. Yeah. Since last week, just two new names. Another guy to the QB room, Mr. Jaden Bradford from Liberty. It's a former 4-star, 3-4-star, depending on the website, out of IMG Academy. And, he was the highest rated recruit in Liberty history. So a little bit of action, but, has a talent, just, needs the ability to shine. But it's just, again, so exciting to see, how competitive the QB room is. I mean, of course, we're always gonna, there's gonna be a ranking and all that. But I mean, the other big takeaways is experience. So that's what I love the most. And on top of that, another experienced individual. I thought this was pretty cool. I want to see how he is. I hope they can use him only because of his background. Cameron Seldon from Virginia Tech has played multiple positions in college, mainly just really, just running back and wide receiver. Played 11 games, made 3 starts, then switched to wide receiver, 23 catches for 165 yards and 2 touchdowns. So recorded 7 rushes for 28 yards. He's a 4-star prospect, number 3 overall player from the state of Virginia. So, again, same thing, the talent's there, just, needs more time to shine or, needs the right team to, to shine. So, again, what just excites me the most about this one is just the versatility he has. And he has a little bit of action with special teams as well. So you see a guy like this and you're like, okay, we're gonna work something out. So no, but to summarize it all, Carter, it's just, I guess, I'll be honest with you, last year I don't know how I guess aggressive I was looking at if there were any transfers and all that, but I feel like this year was really when it exploded. I don't know if it's just me, but you tell me, with the whole transfer portal NIL situation, it's becoming more of a the move. You know what I'm saying, with these college students. So the big thing is just to see we're getting proven experience. From whether it be smaller programs or a really big program. They just we're in a very a talented room. For example, like Bryson Rogers from Ohio State. I feel like, there's a lot of optimism with that. So I don't know if there was any, players that, you looking back at it. I know we got some big names in the linebacker room.
Right.
with
That's the biggest spot. Yeah.
yeah, I was just gonna say that's probably the big upgrade and probably one of the more bigger holes to fill.
Mhm.
So yeah, man.
I mean, with Mac Harris and Schuler leaving, that was kind of the big story surrounding this team was how are they going to fill those spots, and I think they've done so pretty admirably. We've talked about them a lot. We talked about both of them, Grayson Howard and C.J. Hicks. Um, Really, really talented guys. I don't really see much drop off happening there. CJ Hicks is really fun because he also gets after it in the pass rush as well. So it'll be really interested to see. I'll be really interested to see how they deploy him in that defense. Um, and yeah, I mean, you mentioned the Selden fella from Virginia Tech, another versatile piece, another guy that they can kind of move around, except on the offensive side of the ball. And then, of course, you have the more traditional kind of straightforward pickups in Bryson Rogers from Ohio State, 4-star recruit, local, and then Armad Branch from Purdue as well. So those are two like guys that, hey, they're just going to be the outside wide receivers, as well as Moody Rubin coming back. That's a really big one as well. So I think their receiver room and even their cornerback room. I mean, we didn't really touch on it too much just now, but the DBs should be pretty good too. They got a guy from Auburn, a safety, Amon Lane Gaines, who's really interesting. He has a really high end athletic profile. Just it's kind of the prototypical thing with these bigger programs where they just have so much talent that a lot of guys get squeezed out of playing time. So, the smaller programs, the mid-sized programs like USF get to come in and sort of take the remains. And I think that's kind of a harsh way of putting it. And it downgrades the fact that these guys are actually really good. They're not being given opportunity at these big time programs. So yeah, I'm really excited to see how these guys can contribute. And I definitely feel you like the transfer portal kind of it's just keeps growing. It's kind of exploded. And yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Like there's a guy, Tyler Williams, who was a wide receiver from Minnesota. That he transferred over from Minnesota, and I don't know what's going to happen with him. He declared that he's entering the transfer portal. No one seems to know where he's going to end up. Does he return to USF? Do they have a spot for him? I don't know. That seems to be kind of a common occurrence across a lot of schools with guys just declaring for the transfer portal, maybe getting some bad advice, not realizing that maybe their market isn't as fruitful as they would imagine, and then they come back to their original program and there's not a spot for them. So I don't know what's going to happen with a lot of these guys, and Tyler Williams is kind of a good example. We'll see how that moves on.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that's the ugly part that
Yeah,
people don't think about what the whole transfer portal is. A lot of them don't
absolutely.
end up, on another team, and then I know it gets really weird. Now correct
It's
me. I think it's
awkward.
like if you don't end up like getting picked up, it's basically like wherever you go, you are kind of entering as a walk on.
Right. Yeah, it's awkward.
So
I don't
yeah,
even
I mean
know.
yeah, and then I have to say, one factor is this, it makes me think harder sometimes. These kids are so young and all that. Of course, with transferring, agents, get some money as well.
Yeah,
So
man.
I feel like
Nasty business.
there's a little bit of that agency influence, and
Oh, for sure.
yeah, we've seen it, in sports everywhere, man.
Oh, of course.
Young
Nothing
kids
new.
just getting a little lost in the sauce.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and it's sad. I know we're talking about guys that are having to return back to schools that they didn't want to attend in the first place necessarily, and then they don't even get to go there either. So, excuse me. Yeah, I don't know. It's an awkward time. It's a weird time. The Wild West, as people have said, with this NIL stuff. And yeah, I don't know. I don't know if something has to change, but something should change with it because I don't know how sustainable this is. I don't know how sustainable this method, this system will be because I love players getting paid and all that stuff. But they're still getting taken advantage of in different ways. It's just become, and it's both sides. Players are taking advantage of schools too. So it's weird. There's a lot of legal stuff going on, some lawsuits with, I think, Desmond Williams from Washington, or I forget where he is at, but Desmond Williams is a quarterback and he's a very talented guy. But I think he's engaged in a lawsuit with a school, and I believe it is the University of Washington. It's just awkward, man. I don't know what else to say. Like these guys are kind of getting fed some bad advice, or they're just not able to see things clearly, and the schools are taking advantage of this stuff too. So it's kind of nastiness all the way around. It's just the business of it. But we'll see how it plays out, and we'll see if there are any maybe like you said, late walk on quote unquote guys that come to USF and get some more playing time. I'm sure that's not incredibly uncommon. So We'll see how that plays out. But moving on to some other news, a little bit less murky, just more straightforward. The women's basketball team, they had a few games that we'll talk about, but we'll start with a good one. They took a victory versus Wichita State. It was their fifth straight win, moving them to 5-1 in conference play. They had a really scrappy first quarter, 19-18. It was real close, but then USF kind of jumped ahead, outscored WSU 43-28 in the second half. Really, really interesting stuff. Were there any highlights or players that you wanted to highlight from this game, Musab?
I was just gonna say no. I mean, it was just efforts all around.
Yeah.
Just making plays happen. Big night for Katie Davidson. Dropped season high 24 points. She was pretty hot in the shooting, 10 for 16. So Eden Battle again with with her first career double, and just kind of again floor general, and then Fatu Diakite, 12 points, and then Carla Brito with 10 rebounds as well, and got some steals, and then Enos Piper as well, contributing with 2 blocks, 6 points, 5 boards. So just efforts all around. I think the big thing that I've seen is, depending on who we're playing, is as long as we're able to dominate the interior. I think that's our big thing. It can be a hit or miss, with the shooting, Carter, depending on what game it is. But the games that we start feeding Laura and Putu or Fatu Diakite, we start attacking the rim, with any of them, with Katie Davidson, Carla Brito, then that's how we really succeed. So that was really nice to see, man.
Yeah, it was a great effort from all of them. And like you said, that interior scoring, it's really tough to stop USF when they're getting to the hoop. Like you said, the shooting can kind of come and go, but they really shared the rock really well. 21 team assists. I thought that was really fun. And they were getting out on the fast break, just kind of playing into that style of play. 25-8 in fast break points advantage there over Wichita. That was really, really great. So yeah, really, really nice win for USF versus Wichita State and their women's team. But on the flip side, they unfortunately took a tough 3-point loss to Temple. Man, what else can you say? Temple was just able to get to the line a little bit more. The Owls got 20 free throws to edge out the Bulls in the final minutes. They they just had a really, really good game, Temple did, and USF just wasn't able to take advantage of getting out to a 6-point lead at the half. They were up 41-35, and they were up by 5 in the fourth quarter, but it was a real tough back and forth fourth quarter. So it was tough, but there were still some fun performances. Carla Brito, she crossed the 1,000 career point mark, becoming the 29th player in USF history to do that. So that was really fun. Were there any other maybe silver linings to take from this game? Because obviously a conference loss like this, like we talked about it with Jonathan a few episodes ago, they can feel like 2 losses, because you're losing a conference game like this and a tightly contested thing like the American, trying to get to the big tournament. And a loss like this can sting for a while, especially one that was within grasp. So are there any silver linings to take from this matchup?
Yeah, I mean, I think there was some positive takeaways. This game was in our hands, Carter. But I will say this though, is Temple's got a good team. They have some real good playmakers. I do want to give them credit. This was not supposed to be some kind of some kind of annihilation by the USF basketball team either. It was supposed to be a fight like this. But yeah, man, look, we made a lot of plays happen. I mean, the kind of I feel like the majority of our points were coming from assists in the first half, from what I remember, and we were just making plays happen, pick and roll, feeding Laura and Putu and Fatu Diakite. I mean, those are the 2 big things, or 2 big players I wanted to highlight. Fatu Diakite with 17 points, her 7th game in double figures this season, and then Laura and Putu was very dominant on the inside, 14 points, 7 rebounds. Had a clutch buzzer beater as well before the halftime, which was pretty, far as the whole team up, far as the USF fans up as well. So
Yeah.
and then I want to give a shout out to Stephanie Ingram. When I say making plays, yeah, she was out there making plays, racked up 10 assists, her 3rd game of the season, reaching double digits in the assists. Then more to give a shout out to Katie Davidson as well, kept her streak alive with 11 points. So this is her 12th double figure game of the year. But I just have to say, watching that game, and Watching that second half, we just didn't play smart, towards the end. And I'm not. It's easier than it said. Just because the momentum that Temple was picking up. They got a couple of and ones. They had a really big play actually. That I think I even made it on the American Athletic Conference Instagram. I saw that shortly after the game. Kind of
Heck yeah.
irked me a little bit, but no. Just some wild shots, man. I really hate to say it, man. Just some wild shots, some layups, or just some kind of. We were just trying to be a little too saucy with it or something. Kind of
Yeah,
just
getting a little too.
forcing a shot in there. I mean, I understand. Look, it's back and forth. It really was. It was it was a very fast paced kind of second half, especially the last couple of minutes. So
Yeah, man.
there's
I mean,
always
it
things
just,
we learn, but
of
yeah,
course,
man,
yeah,
it was good. And on to the next one. Yeah.
yeah, you can get a little too cute sometimes with the women's team in this game. It felt like with their shot selection, like you said. And the good news is it wasn't like you said. It wasn't like a. I totally agree. It wasn't like a game that they were supposed to win. They were heavily favored. Like this is a excruciating, brutal loss. Like not at all. This is not going to derail their season. They are still very much in the mix from being a very competitive team in this conference. So as much as it's disappointing to take a narrow loss like this, there's still things to gain from it. They can still turn things around, and they have a very solid foundation with all of these really, really talented players, especially in the interior. And like you said, Stephanie Ingram, like she really balled out, even though that they lost the game. She still had a nice game with 10 assists. Reaching double digits in that category for the third time this season, like you said. So that's really fun. And then we'll shift our focus to the men's basketball team because they had 3 games that we got to talk about. The first one, it was a win, but it was a little bit like, well, they won and they won by 11 points. It was 82-71 over East Carolina, but USF was a heavily favored team coming into this matchup. So, it was a little bit concerning that they didn't necessarily blow them out like they were supposed to, but at the same time, a win's a win, all those cliches. It was their 3rd straight American Conference win at the time. They had 5 guys in double digits, which Coach Hodgson was really, really excited about. He was like, hey, like we're not designed to play around 1 or 2 guys, very similar to the women's team. They're not designed to play around 1-2 star players. They have more of a depth. But they still had some guys that really stood out. Omajofu had 18 points, 6 boards, 4 assists. Isaiah Nelson, heard it before. We'll hear it again. We'll hear it again later. He had a double-double, 14 points, 14 rebounds. Wes Ennis, a little bit more of a step back a little bit in terms of his expectations, but still 14 points, really, really solid. And then CJ Brown, he had 12 points as well. He's kind of that playmaker. Really nice job. And Joseph Pinion, he wasn't necessarily shooting the lights out like he sometimes can, but did a little bit of everything. Had kind of a stat sheet stuffer kind of game with 9 points, 5 boards, a block, and a steal. So that was really fun. And it was just a good game of showing their balance and sort of their team chemistry. Just showing that they play really well together, even though it wasn't necessarily as big of a win, still a win. Any other takeaways from this game, Musab? Anything that you saw from this East Carolina game that kind of made you raise your eyebrow, so to speak?
Yeah, I mean, the thing was, first of all, yeah, I mean, it should have not been this close, but
Right.
we pulled it off, we pulled away. But no, I mean, the thing I love most about this team is, just how balanced we are, and so yeah, some days, as you mentioned, Joseph Pinion, might have an absolute baller game, and then Wes Ennis, for example, may not or something, and then it's the other way, or maybe it's Omajafo and Nelson or something. So,
Sure.
I'll be honest with you. I feel like if Isaiah Nelson doesn't have a good game, chances are we lost. You know what I'm saying? So it's
Right.
I put Nelson plus one other guy to have a baller game, and I think we'll find a way to win. Plus, everyone else contributing, however that is. So I definitely love the depth that we have, and yeah, man, I'm excited to see what was going to happen for the Wichita State game. But that was, I remember I felt like we talked about it, and I thought I'm pretty sure we talked with confidence that we're like, okay, listen, where the Bulls are gonna look to come out with the win, and we're just looking to learn from our mistakes, or what happened. But I wasn't expecting a loss like that. It was ugly, dude. It really was.
Yeah, it was
And
nasty, man. They had Wichita State was, I don't want to say they were easy to prepare for, but they had some very clear strengths, and it's easier said than done to slow those types of guys down, because Wilberg 7'2", he's got a lot of size, but he just was getting anything he wanted. He had 15 boards by the end of OT. This game went into extra time, and man, it was tough. Like they try, Giles, their leading scorer, Wichita State's leading scorer, came in 18 points per game. And he ended up with 22. Like it was just very clear what the Shockers can do well. They rebound really well. They don't necessarily pass the ball super well. They weren't, they're not necessarily racking up the assist totals, and they only 11.6 per game. So it was tough to see them take this loss, especially because they had the lead at the end of the game. Wes Ennis gets the ball. They're up one. Obviously, it's a high pressure situation. I think there's like a 2-second separation between the shot clock and the game clock. And Wes Ennis had it around half court, and he unfortunately just turned the ball over. He just threw it away. Wichita State managed to snag it and make a layup to go up one, and that was it. That was the game. USF took a 1-point loss to a team that, frankly, they should have beat. Wichita State, kind of the middle of the road for the American Conference, and USF couldn't get it done at home. Really disappointing to see that happen, because if they're on the road or if they're playing like a solid team, then understandable. But Wichita State, that's a team that you got to beat, especially at home. But they couldn't they couldn't get it done. So yeah, USF taking a pretty disappointing loss to Wichita State. Any other closing thoughts on this game before we move on to the next one? Because man, I just kind of want to flush this one down the toilet. So
yeah, dude, it was ugly. I mean, I think we did. I mean, we came out flat. I think we had like some kind of. I mean, they had like a 15-point, start against us.
Yes, they got up.
I mean, from the jump, dude. I mean, it was, it was bad. So
right.
On top of that, we weren't getting layups in. We got out rebounded, and then just a costly turnover, and then Wilberg. I mean, he was balling out there for sure. So, just, it's just so depressing to know we failed to close like a 13-point lead at one point, you know what I'm saying, early in the second half, and especially at home. But, just a lot of those, especially second chance points we gave, Wichita State didn't look good for us either. So we just, we kind of stopped fighting when, we should have just executed, and they kept on attacking. And it just, I don't know. And when you think about it, it's just a bad look overall, for the overall net rankings. Now I'm forgetting exactly where we were at one point, but I think we were like, oh man, I got to go back. But we were almost in that kind of like 64. We were definitely around that range, maybe
on the bubble.
A little on the bubble. So now it's just like, man, all I want, Carter, is for USF to get their respect in the, in the big picture. You know what I'm saying, man?
That's right. And it's hard to get that respect when you
AAC fans know how, great USF is, but do ACC fans know, do SEC? So
right.
We had the opportunity with football. Hopefully we'll have it again, in Heartline we trust, but it's the same thing with basketball.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
With Hodgson at the helm, I do have confidence that they're going to be able to continue to have a solid season. And like you said, they got out rebounded real bad, and Nelson just looked tough. So, I mean, you just mentioned it, like in the previous game with their win versus ECU, it's kind of got to be Nelson and someone else. And someone else was Pinion. He had 21 points. He was cooking, but Nelson just didn't do his part, unfortunately. And he shoulders a lot. He shoulders a big burden. He's, their starting center, and he has a lot to do down there in the paint. And unfortunately, he just didn't. He just had an off game, and it happens. He looked kind of overwhelmed at points with Wilberg's size. Like, he's tough to keep up with. He's tough to
what's the size? I was about to say his size. What is like 6'10" versus 7'2"?
Yeah. So there is, that 4 inches. It's a difference. Like, it doesn't sound like a lot, but it can make a big difference. So yeah, it's tough. But on the flip side of that, they had a really tremendous win last night against UAB. Mm-hmm. Obviously, they took the overtime loss. I think double overtime loss. I was at that game to UAB. That was a heartbreaker. And then they turn around and go to UAB, and they finally get their first win in program history over the Blazers since 2014. They had a 7-game losing streak. It was their first win against UAB since the Blazers joined the American Conference. And it was a very I don't know about you, Musa, but it felt very relaxing.
Yeah, man. No, man. I told man. I remember my buddy was. I think USF. I think the spread was just like negative, 3.5 or something. It was supposed to be a pretty close match.
Right.
Because my cousin was telling me about it. He's like, "Hey man, you think USF's gonna win today?" I was like,
Right.
"Ooh, it could be a close one because they went to OT last time." So no, this was so refreshing. And
Absolutely.
sheesh, man, Joseph Pinion with 25 points,
He
career
was on
high, hit
fire.
6 3-pointers.
Hmm.
Dude, when Pinion gets cooking, man, it's
Yeah.
over. You know what
Yeah,
I'm
he's
saying?
tough to stop. Yeah, he's tough to stop. And like you said, it was real close. Like I think it was pretty much a 50-50 split on ESPN in terms of like they do that little like likelihood of winning thing or whatever. So yeah, it was a real tightly contested game, or at least it was supposed to be going in. But yeah, Pinion was just on fire. And then of course Isaiah Nelson, he had another double-double. So his 13th of the season, 16 and 10. And that's kind of the formula for success for USF. If Isaiah Nelson's cooking, you're going to have a hard time beating them. And Damian Collins off the bench, he had 5 blocks. They were kind of their backup big man, so to speak. He had a really tremendous game. And CJ Brown, 9 assists. He's first in the conference in that stat. In total assists. That's really fun. But what about the game flow? Like take me through kind of the narrative, Musa. What kind of went on this game? Because it felt like USF kind of controlled this game throughout the match. Was that kind of the vibe that you got?
Yeah. Yeah, man. I mean, look, we closed the first half like on a 15-4 run.
Right.
UAB just wasn't really getting things going, in the start of the second half. I mean, they went like 0 for 10 from the field. Just
Hmm.
for the whole second half, I mean, the Bulls were controlling the tempo. And I mean, we racked up 13 3-pointers, unlike UAB, who was like 4 for 24 from the three. So we dominated big time over there. Shout out to, of course, Mr. Joseph Pinion and the rest of the gang. But same thing with, dominating, the paint and the interior defense as well, man. And, dude, I vividly remember, man, I just came back from, like the kitchen or something. And as soon as like sit down, it's this absolute nasty pick and roll from Pinion to Damian Collins with the slam. And I was like, oof. So, I mean, and yeah, we just saw that kind of big man dominance, throughout the whole game. So, UAB really couldn't get much going. When they did, it was just for a little bit. So, I think the big thing was to kind of make that statement that, hey, listen, the last time we played we was just a little off. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, man, I guess at the end of the day, it's always about, best out of three or whatever. So I'm sure we'll see him again. But
Yeah, maybe in that
yeah,
tournament. Yeah.
we got a fun matchup next or this upcoming Sunday. We got a little slime out game against FAU. So
Yeah, we'll see, man. I don't know about some of the promotion nights or whatever slime out game. Like it's kind of fun because the
could be a mess. I don't know, man. I guess they're implying it's gonna be a messy one. You know what I'm saying?
I guess so. Maybe they'll have the Nickelodeon slime machine or whatever. They'll do that, or maybe they could have like I know the NFL does that thing where they have the Nickelodeon broadcast, and when a guy scores a touchdown, the end zone like has a slime explodes, like it's animated. So maybe they can do
Oh
that for
no.
like a 3-pointer, like when Joseph Pinion hits a three,
Yeah.
and then it's like well, we'll see. I doubt that they have that kind of CGI budget, but we'll see. But yeah, that about does it for the men's basketball program. I wanted to move on to the softball team. Just have a little bit of news on them. They announced the 2026 schedule. They've got a tough one. They're playing 5 teams that were in the 2025 NCAA tournament. But give me something else. Where are they starting and any tournaments that they've got? Give me something on the softball schedule, Mr. Tariq.
Yeah, man. The fun begins soon. They are, the defending, American Athletic Conference champs. They're going to be
Yeah.
starting their season at the USF Rawlings Invitational, starting February 5th through the 8th. We're going to be playing Bethune-Cookman, Illinois State, Michigan, Kansas, and Florida. So look, we're hanging out, or we're playing, kind of the best of the best to start out the season. For example, like, the UF Gators reached the Women's College World Series last
Yeah.
season,
Yeah.
and the Wolverines
US.
played in the NCAA tournament. Yep. So, we're going to be going against some big programs, and, that's all you can really ask for, from being from a USF standpoint, at least,
Right.
just, getting all the attention we can, but they've already made a name for themselves. You know what I'm
Oh
saying?
yeah.
You're conference champions, and they got a great program out there. So yeah, man, excited to see what they do.
Yeah, I mean, Coach Erickson just does such a tremendous job, and he was just inducted into the softball
Hmm.
Hall of Fame in the offseason as well. So yeah, really excited for the softball season. They're going to continue. They just, it's almost like a factory. They're just a machine. They just crank out successful teams. They've got a great program over there. So real excited to see that season. Another one, the lacrosse season starting up January 30th. They're starting their season against University of Tampa. And so Coach Mindy McCord, she's promoting USF. She's out there trying to push the agenda. She's talking about their non-league schedule in lacrosse. She's saying they got one of the toughest in in D1. Only 10 home matches for USF in non-conference games, but a lot of fun weekend matchups and some multi-sport doubleheaders on campus. So if you're looking to go to lacrosse, you can go see lacrosse and then another sport. So it's kind of fun. So a little bit of promotion there from the lacrosse team. Kind of fun. So we'll
Who
see how
knows,
that
man?
goes.
There could be days where you do three. You know what I'm saying?
That's
So one
right.
second
Yeah.
you're watching Pinion, just down in threes, and then
Mhm.
boom, 1 hour later, you're on the softball field, watching Coach Erickson and the girls cook, and then
That's
before you
right.
know it, in the blink of an eye, you're watching Mindy McCord and her team, absolutely cook it up. So
Absolutely.
you could get the USF trio. Yeah. Wow.
The triple dipper for USF. Shout out to Chili's. Yeah, so definitely check it out. We'll get more into it as the season progresses with the lacrosse team and track and field. Musab, I know you're a big track and field guy. I wanted to give you the floor to kind of talk about USF track and field because they had an indoor invite this past weekend. Is that right?
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, indoor invite in Gainesville. Indoor is a little bit different, also just kind of down south compared to up north, just because of the weather. You know what I'm saying? It's a little
Right.
bit more
Yeah.
different up there, and I think they get a little bit more action up there as well. But no, man, yeah, we had the Jimmy Carnes indoor invite this past weekend for both the men and the women. A lot of great performances out there, but the ones I wanted to highlight, we got second in the men's 4x4. What this was they had a couple of ABC teams, but yeah, our South Florida A team racked up second. They actually got second to a like non-collegiate team. It just said Adidas. I think it's like some Adidas kind of pro team or something.
Huh.
Because they can those people can enter as like open. You know what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
If they're so technically anyone kind of can, but you're going to be looked as a clown unless you really have the stats
You
to
mean
back it up. So
you and
Adidas
I
just
can't? You and I
no,
can't
no.
look
I
at
think
it?
Adidas just cooked up a team and said, hey, let's get these boys some action against some good collegiate runners. So yeah, second in the men's 4x4, and then we got third in the men's 60-meter hurdles. Shout out Mark Hill Jones, junior from South Florida, and second in pole vault, Mr. Peyton Pitts, and he with the 5:15 meters or 5.15. So Mark Hill Jones Jr. and Peyton Pitts were the American Athletic Conference week. They got the American Athletic Conference weekly honors. So
Oh yeah.
that was pretty cool to see. And next up, we are back at the same facility, different name. It's going to be the Legends of Alachua or Alachua County
I think it's
Invitational.
Alachua. I could be wrong.
Alachua. Yeah, so yeah, that's going to be January 30th to 31st. So that should be a good one, and we'll see what we do. But it's probably going to be another maybe month or so where the real kind of serious competition begins. You're going to go
Sure.
getting bigger meets, bigger programs, but then again, unfortunately, there's not many outdoors really. The true fun. You know what I'm saying?
Of
Indoors
course.
a little also different because it's only 200-meter tracks.
Mm.
So like 800-meter runners have to run around the track 4 times, and it's just different. Yeah, it's just different.
Yeah,
So
that's interesting.
with 400-meter runners, you run around twice, and same thing with, because it makes a difference, with 200-meter runners, because on a big track, you're only running around the 200-meter. You're only running around one kind of turn once.
Right.
You
Yeah.
got two turns. You got two turns in indoor. So
Right.
just some food for thought. And then you have no wind and, all the other calculations that those track nerds, be posting.
Yeah, all the
But
track calculators.
yeah, all the, the RAS score and
They got to break out the X WOBA for track people. Oh man, yeah, we can get all advanced analytics for track and field. No, but that's some exciting stuff, man. USF's, they're all over it. They're all over it. So we'll keep y'all in the loop. Mr. Tariq will keep y'all in the loop. Rather, he is far more educated and more knowledgeable about track and field than myself. But we're nearing the end of our episode. But before we did, save the best for last. The cheer team, the USF cheer teams, they sweep the national titles. They claim their 10th and 11th championships. The USF all-girl team, they won the Division I all-girl game day title, and they earned 2 silver medals in other divisions as well. Co-ed cheer team, they won the Division I large co-ed national championship, and they finished runner-up in co-ed game day. So that's 11 national or world championships for this program in the past 6 years. I thought that was really cool, Musab.
Dude.
Yeah.
No, most definitely, man. I think it's safe to say that if you're in the cheer world and you tell someone I went to USF, that's like saying you went to the Harvard of cheering.
That's right. That's right.
Or the Bama, or the Bama or Indiana.
Yeah.
Or the Indiana of cheering. So
that's right.
Yeah, man.
So it's some cool stuff. No matter where you look at USF athletics, there's some cool stuff going on. There's really successful across the program. It's not just football and basketball and baseball. They've got some really cool sports going on, and we'll keep talking about it. We're going to keep covering it and giving it the attention that it deserves. This athletic program is really cooking. They're on the right track. They're on the up and up. So definitely stay tuned. Hit that like and subscribe button if you want to keep us in your feed. Also, give us a follow at RBLR Bulls or at RBLR Sports. We've got some great content across our channels. We'd really appreciate it. But thank you all for tuning in, and thank you to my wonderful co-host, Mr. Tariq.
Thank you for tuning into this presentation by RBLR Sports. On your way out of the stadium, please remember to like and subscribe.